Good afternoon, students. Yesterday we had studied about carbohydrate, what is protein, what is amino acid, and what is the classification of amino acid. So today we are going to study about properties of amino acid. Then types of protein, that is mainly there are two types, fibrous protein and globular protein. In the globular protein there are four structures of protein, that is primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure and quaternary structure. Okay, after that we will study what is denaturation of protein. So let us start with properties of amino acid. So the first property of amino acid is Zwitter ion. Second one, isoelectric point. And third one is amphoteric in nature. So let us start with amphoteric nature. So in the first year we had studied that amphoteric nature means what? So do you remember what is meant by amphoteric nature? Amphoteric nature means that compounds behave acid as well as base. So how it will behave acid and base? So see here, in the amino acid it have basic compound. I am going to take the example of glycine. So here this compound contain base as well as acid. Okay, so this compound having property of acid as well as base. So that's why what happened actually, it is going to ready to give the proton and this is ready to accept proton. So that's why they have both property and formation of salt. So that's why amino acids are amphoteric in nature. Come to the second property. That second property is isoelectric point. Second point is isoelectric point. So what is meant by isoelectric point? So the point at which the pH solution of amino acid neither move towards the cathode or towards the एनोड. मतलब क्या है, वो जो आयंस है, जो आयंस बनेंगे कब, जब pH solution and this aqueous point it comes in the isoelectric point, it can form in the aqueous solution, and if I make the aqueous solution it will have some particular pH, and you know very well it will form the ions and it will show the pH value. Okay, but the pH solution that pH solution can't able to move towards cathode or anode. Okay, I will give you one example. The isoelectric point of glycine is 6. Okay, so this is about isoelectric point. Come to the next and third property, that is Zwitter ion. Third one is Zwitter ion. So students, what is meant by Zwitter ion? So the point at which the isoelectric point at which the amino acid show the dipolar action. I will give you one example. So see here, by taking glycine, this amino acid and this is amine group and this will be the acid. Here what happened, this will able to give this proton to amino acid and it will form negative charge whereas this will take the proton and form the positive charge like this, and it will form the dipole. And when the compound containing dipole, we will call it as, it is Zwitter ion. Means what? Zwitter ion contain it is dipolar property. It contains dipolar property. Okay, and it will able to form the salt. Actually, it is neutral. This positive and negative charge make each other to neutral. Understood? Okay, and it is able to form the salt. Understood? So it will form that dipolar property. That's why we call it as Zwitter ion. So amino acids behave like a Zwitter ion. Understood? This is all about properties of amino acid. Okay. Come to the next one, that is optical activity of amino acid. I had told you in the first year what is optical activity. When you will pass the compound through some through the light, they show particular rotation, either right side rotation or left side rotation, that is clockwise or anti-clockwise, in that way, and they show that optical activity. Is the all property show optical activity? No, only a symmetric carbon atom can show the optical activity. So student, glycine cannot show the optical activity. Why? So see the structure of glycine. What we are going to study? Optical activity. So the structure of glycine is like this. So see here student, this carbon contain both hydrogen atom, which is the same group. Okay, and if the carbon contains same group, then it will not show the optical activity. So this glycine can't show optical activity. Except glycine, other amino acid can show the optical activity. Okay, and most of the amino acids show, actually there are two configurations, D and L configuration. How we will decide, is it D configuration or L configuration? Suppose I am going to take one amino acid and I will explain you. This is your alkyl group, this is your amino group, and this is your acid group. If your amino acid contain amine group toward the left hand side, that time it will show the L configuration. And when this amine group on the right hand side of the asymmetric carbon atom, then it show D configuration. Most of the amino acids show L configuration. They are not able to show D configuration. Most of the amino acids show only L configuration. So this is all about optical activity of the amino acid. After completing optical activity, I am going to tell you about amino acid linkage. So come to the next one, amino acid linkage. Students, do you remember in the carbohydrate we had studied that glycosidic linkage, when two monosaccharides combines, they will form glycosidic linkage. So that, do you remember that glucose with one oxygen bond with fructose? So this is the glycosidic bond. In the same manner, in protein, it will form peptide bond, not glycosidic bond, but it is peptide bond. So next topic is amino acid linkage. Okay. So in amino acid linkage, that one amino acid combined with another amino acid. Through that, what happened? It will lose one water molecule and it will form the linkage between two amino acid, and that linkage is called as peptide bond. So I will show you how. So see here, I will take the example of amino acid. Suppose this is one amino acid. Okay, it will combine with another amino acid. So what happened? OH from acid group of one amino acid and H from the amine group of another amino acid combines and remove the water molecule, and it will form the bond between these two amino acid, and that bond is called what? Glycosidic. Sorry, not glycosidic. It is peptide linkage. So see here, CO from here and NH from here. So this bond is called as peptide bond. What I said, it is peptide bond. So next of this NH there is RHCOOH. Okay. So this is, they make one peptide bond, so it is one, this is only peptide bond. If there is two peptide bond, then it will be dipeptide. If there is three peptide bond, then there will be tripeptide, tetrapeptide, pentapeptide, and up to that, if it contain many n number of peptide bond, then we call it as polypeptide bond. Understood? So this is amino acid linkage, which is also called as peptide linkage or peptide bond. Okay. So after the peptide bond, we will study the next one, that is protein. Students, why we study amino acid? Because before going to study the protein, amino acid is the basic part of that protein. So that's why we had studied about amino acid. So let us start with protein. So what is protein? Protein is a complex nitrogenous compound, and which are the polymers of amino acid. Okay. So now it will form the peptide bond. Two amino acid combine to form peptide bonds, and the weightage of peptide bond is below than 1000, which make to form which helps to form protein. Which helps to form what? Protein. Okay. So let us start with types of protein. So mainly there are two types of protein. One is globular protein and another one is fibrous protein. So let us do the classification. Classification based on the structure. Proteins are two types. One is fibrous protein and another one is globular protein. Globular protein. Okay. So come to the first one, fibrous protein. So its name only suggests that the properties of fibrous protein. So the proteins which are fibers like. Okay. So the proteins which are having structure like a fiber. Okay. It having fiber like, wire like structure. But it having thread like structure. We can say it also having thread like structure, and that threads the linkage that formed by amino acid, they are parallel to each other. Okay. And these fibrous proteins are insoluble in water. These fibrous proteins are insoluble in water. Okay, so these fibrous proteins are able to form only primary and secondary structure. They don't able to form tertiary and quaternary structure. They can form only primary and secondary structure. Okay, after that come to the globular protein. The shape of globular protein is spherical. So by taking the example, I will explain you again. The shape of globular protein is spherical and they are soluble in water. And one more thing I had forget, that fibrous protein can't denature. Student, what is meant by denature? When the particular object changes by physical and biological property, then we call it as it get denatured. So this fibrous protein can't get denatured, whereas these globular protein get denatured. Okay, and this can form primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. Okay, what is the first point? The structure having thread-like structure. It is a spherical structure. It is insoluble in water. It is soluble in water. It can form primary and secondary, but not tertiary and quaternary. Whereas globular protein form primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. They don't get denatured, whereas globular protein get denatured. So the example of fibrous protein is keratin. So students, where keratin is found? Keratin present in our hair. So hair, nail, these all are the example of what? Fibrous protein. Whereas the globular protein is the example is egg, then hemoglobin. These all are the example of globular protein. So this is all about types of protein. So next, in the globular protein there are 4 structures formed by protein, that is primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Okay, that we will discuss now. So let us study with primary structure of protein. So the primary structure of protein, that is primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure and quaternary structure. This we will study tomorrow. Thank you student. Have a nice day.